If you've played Minecraft for any length of time, then chances are this same thing has happened to you. You lose interest.
Getting kind of bored.
You find yourself no longer challenged and unsure of what to do next, or maybe other life circumstances take over and you find that once you stop playing, you kind of lose that spark for the game. Now, this seems to be a fairly common occurrence in the Minecraft community, but fear not, there are ways to navigate through it that we're going to talk about today. There's even a few surprising ones that you may not have considered that we're going to talk about at the end, so be sure to stick around for those. I've been playing Minecraft off and on for close to 10 years now. I mean, it's seriously been a long time. Let me put it this way. When I first started playing, there was a tutorial world that taught all about building a house to protect you from monsters. And honestly, the monsters totally creeped me out. I actually hated the game when I first started playing it. I'm not even sure why I kept playing it, but luckily I kept playing it long enough to get absolutely hooked on it. I mean, really hooked on it.
Stop it. Get some help.
During those 10 years, however, I've had long periods where I stopped playing. I think my longest streak was around 2 years where I never even touched the game. But somehow, I always get sucked back in.
They pull me back in.
Undoubtedly, there are countless reasons why people quit playing, and everyone has their own unique set of circumstances. However, I truly believe that there are some very common threads within those reasons. The first of which being that the challenge is gone. I've heard it again and again from people, and you probably have too, that the very start of a new world is their favorite part of the game. Now, I think that the reason for that is because of how rewarding the struggle is. Starting with nothing and having to work your way up to a better way of life is definitely challenging. From upgrading your gear to having to find food and gather resources, you know what you need to do, so you simply grind away and getting the job done. So we're going to make a note of that. Keep the game challenging. For a lot of people, once they have built all the basics, they don't know what to build next. So they just don't. There's also the pitfall of always building in the same style or building with the same materials. Everything kind of starts to look the same, and then people feel like they've done everything they can possibly do and figure there's nowhere else to go. This, of course, is not actually true, so I think it's pretty safe to say in this case that we need to make a note to push your creative boundaries, get out of your comfort zone, and try new things. Most importantly, do not be afraid to fail. So by now, you're probably thinking, yeah, this all sounds well and good, but how do I actually fix these things? Well, hang in there, that part's coming. But first, I want to address one more thing that I think can cause people to burn out. The last point I want to bring up is the mental health aspect. I'm sure you've heard others talk about this, and I'll keep it very brief. But it really is important enough to at least touch upon. So the first thing I want to bring up is the life balance, making sure you're not spending so much time playing the game that you're neglecting your real life responsibilities. That probably sounds really obvious, but I think we can all use a little bit of a reminder about that once in a while, and I think we're all kind of guilty of spending a little too much time playing. I know I am. And then the other part is if you play in a single player world, sometimes it gets kind of lonely. You don't have the same social interactions you do if you're playing with other friends, and there's not really anybody to show off your builds to, and that kind of sucks the motivation out of a person too, I think. So that's all. I just wanted to bring those last couple of points up. All right, on with the solutions. Let me share with you a little bit of how I got out of my burnout funk. Now, in my current situation, I'm going on almost 6 months where I stopped playing the game. For me, I hit nearly all the previous burnout points. I had conquered pretty much everything I set out to conquer. Resources were no issue for me, and I hadn't played with anyone for a pretty good chunk of time. Now, all of these things happened right around the same time that the warmer weather was hitting, and I figured it was a pretty good time to take a break so I could focus on my outdoor hobbies. So that's what I did. Now, when I finally got around to loading up my world again, I found that I had absolutely no desire to play in it. I mean, it was fun to go around and, revisit a little nostalgia and see the things that I had built, but I didn't have that spark anymore. Then, as luck would have it, a friend of mine reached out and asked if I wanted to join him playing on a server with a bunch of other cool people. Now, in the past, I've been extended some very, very nice invitations to join some amazing people to play with. But the timing was just never right. I was really into trying to grow my single-player world, and, that was kind of where my focus was. But right now, that offer sounded perfect. Like, it kind of hit all of the bullet points that I was looking for. I could start brand new, I could make some new friends and find new inspirations. Now that doesn't mean that joining an SMP is the magic answer for everyone. It absolutely is not. It just happened to be what I really needed at this point in time. But the point that I was trying to make earlier, the surprise thing I realized was that the SMP I joined actually held a lot of the answers to a lot of those bullet points independent of the SMP. I know that probably sounds kind of confusing, but if you will come with me, I'll show you exactly what I mean and how you can apply it to your gameplay, even if you're just a solo player or in a different SMP or whatever your circumstances are. Case in point, let's start right here at Q Prospector's house. Now he has one of the most unique takes on building that I've encountered in quite a long time. Go check out his channel and you'll see where he specializes in what is known as achromatic build style. No, not acrobatic, achromatic.
Achromatic.
So on his channel, his builds are all these super interesting black and white and gray builds. That is just so unique and something that I would have never thought to try. With his house right here, you can see that he's pretty much just stuck with a brown color palette. And I love the way that he mixes the blocks in the wall to give it such character, even including dirt blocks. Hello, dirt starter house, anyone? So imagine if you took some of those ideas and used them to challenge your own builds. Do you think you could build a pretty decent looking house using just one color palette? Or better yet, do you think you could pull off a black and white house? That would definitely push some creative boundaries. Alright, so now if we head down the hill again, we're going to go towards the water, and this one's going to blow your mind. Alright, check it out. This is an incredible steampunk ship that Lane built. To me, this is just the poster child of creativity and incredibly interesting bits of detail. Even if you didn't want to build a ship, just seeing how we used that very little bit of color in the build for some extra detailing is really cool. And you could use it in virtually any build, not just on sea, but also on land. It's definitely not your everyday run-of-the-mill starter base, and that is what makes it such an awesome bit of inspiration. And just a little further on down the boardwalk, we have a really fun out-of-the-box build, this time by Empress Littlebit. This build showcases the exact point that I've been trying to make today. In her video, she explains how she had gotten the inspiration for this build from another YouTube creator, but she put her own twist on it by putting a Japanese-style roof on it. Don't be afraid to build on other people's ideas. That's how you push outside of your own creative comfort zone. I think I could go on for hours about all the creative ideas that I've already found on this server after only a couple of weeks just by looking at the approach other people take to building in this game. In the interest of time, however, I just want to bullet point a few more ideas to help get you out of your funk. Now over here, both MC Yoda and Impala 100 built castles for their starter homes. I think every Minecraft player has an obligation to build a castle at least one time in their Minecraft careers. What I love here is how they've both taken such unique approaches to a very similar idea. And I absolutely love the bridge that connects their two bases. That's a really good example of how it's worth taking the extra time and effort to put detail into something like that. Don't mind the pumpkins there, it's part of an ongoing server prank. So, have you built a castle or have you made a detailed bridge like this? There's a couple more ideas for you. Zinkberg reminds us that we all need to work on our roof designs because his is absolutely breathtaking. Roofs are the downfall of many a Minecrafter, myself included. I think my favorite part of this build is how that front roof angles up. I just think it looks absolutely gorgeous, and that would be a fantastic skill to work on. And here is another amazing roof design by Baby Unicorn this time. I absolutely love those high-peaked roofs. And it's not every day that you see somebody using terracotta for roofing material. And what a great idea to use the warp fungus and also the glow lichen to give some accents to the roof. So many cool architectural elements going on here. Honestly, this one is worth pausing the video and studying some of the detail in this build. And up the hill is a really nice clean design by Jitterybug this time. I love how this build has a fairly massive roof, yet the overall feel of this build is really very cozy. And what a cool and fun idea to use the amethyst as an accent piece. It's those unexpected little details that I think really makes a build stand out. Now here is what kills me about Millie Craft's build. She proves that you can absolutely use early game materials and make the build look amazing. This house is built out of mostly oak, and I usually don't like oak, but I love her build. But I think a lot of that is the detail she puts into it, but also the way that she ties the landscaping and all the little extras around the property. It just makes it into one really cool, cohesive build. This build is amazing and I love it. Great inspiration for simple materials. Now the final example of ideas for inspiration I want to show you are found in a house built by Toblocks. Toblocks is the whole package here. His builds are super solid. He's got great color and personality in his builds. I just love the bits of mangrove that he uses in this design for a pop of color. But look at the amount of detail he has on the exterior of the house. All the barrels and the bushes and the seating and all those different props that just pull this entire build together. It's not just a standalone structure, it makes it like an entire environment or experience. And it's not just the house itself, it's the way that the crops kind of frame in the property. You have the pathways weaving in and out. I love the patio design with the rose bushes kind of framing it all in. It's just got some really cool details that I think ties everything together just beautifully. As I was getting ready to wrap this video up, I had kind of a cool realization. We all had started this server a couple of weeks ago with the exact same initial objective, build a starter home. And look at how vastly different everybody's designs were. It is a testament to how cool this game is, because you can absolutely, as they say, make it your own, but there's just so many different possibilities. That's why it's so good to look at and see what other people do to get some inspiration and get ideas beyond your own that you can build from. If you found this video interesting or helpful at all, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, and even better yet, if you would subscribe, because I would love to have you join me on future adventures. Thank you so much for watching. I absolutely appreciate it. And I will see you later, taters. Bye-bye.